South Sudan's political turmoil, heightened in recent days by President Salva Kiir's removal of his key rival, First Vice President Riek Machar, has bloodied the streets of the capital, Juba, and sent even more people fleeing to the safety of United Nations protection camps. Machar's removal and Kiir's replacement of him with their former mediator, Taban Deng Gai, followed Machar's sudden departure from Juba several weeks ago. That effectively collapsed the agreed-upon transitional government that began in April when Machar returned to the capital after fighting erupted in December 2013. That collapse has also impacted China's massive investment in the East African nation's oil sector, prompting the China National Petroleum Corporation, known as CNPC, to evacuate nearly 200 of its people. Because of the conflict, very little oil, now estimated at only 120,000 barrels a day, is presently going to market. One South Sudan first-hand observer describes the tattered oil infrastructure left in the wake of the country's convulsions. Via Skype, journalist Anthony Lowenstein.
Often the facilities don't exist anymore. They need to be rebuilt from the ground up. Who's going to invest in that? Who's going to spend money on that? At the moment, virtually nobody is.
China began investing in Sudan's oil fields before that nation's southern half broke with Khartoum and became independent in 2011. South Sudan's oil still goes through Sudan via pipeline, with Khartoum extracting a transit fee for its passage. China is also making an investment in South Sudan's peace and security. At least 700 Chinese troops are part of the United Nations mission in South Sudan, known by the acronym UNMISS. But these soldiers are not deployed to protect South Sudan's oil fields. They're sheltering civilians in UN-created safe zones. Beijing may be the most capable nation to exert influence in resolving Juba's shattered political structure, according to Center for Strategic and International Studies Africa Director Jennifer Cook.
They have, in some ways, more leverage than the United States and the international community, in that they kind of have the purse strings of oil production and oil exploration.
Oil revenue is the foundation of South Sudan's economy, and according to observers, has also been key to President Kiir's hold on power. Again, via Skype, Anthony Lowenstein.
Because it's a kleptocracy, the South Sudanese government used that oil revenue to pay off friends and allies to keep on their side. As that oil money has essentially disappeared and dried up, it's become incredibly difficult for South Sudan to remain intact.
Since China has such a large multi-billion-dollar investment in South Sudan's oil industry, one might think that Beijing would aggressively pursue a diplomatic solution to the country's political crisis. But Beijing's special representative on African affairs, Zhang Jinhua, who met with South Sudan's political leadership in early May, publicly maintains China's non-interventionist policy toward African states.
Well, I don't think we are the party to be correct to propose our own initiative, at least at this stage.
Meanwhile, the nation barely functions, with its population often fed by NGOs and partially protected by a UN force, trying to stay out of the crossfire between its heavily armed and angry factions. And observers say that's not likely to change in the foreseeable future. Jeffrey Young, VOA News.